Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey watching 90 Day Fiancé. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. And as a professional, when I watch these shows, I'm often having a reaction of like, oh no, you're not doing what you could do to enhance your relationship. So let's see if I have anything to say as I watch this show.
Eric, I need to talk to you.
I talked to Natalie.
So you digging up the dad is completely acceptable?
Mm-hmm. Why you want to talk about my intimacy to strangers? This is not fair. I don't allow you to talk. I even talk good about you.
We were broken up.
But you don't allow you to talk about my sex.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with fighting if you want to fight. There's nothing wrong with defending yourself. But if you're wanting to actually move forward and repair the relationship, there's been a rupture, there's been a hurt, and if you want to move forward, and that's always a thing I throw out to people. If they were to have a fight like this on my couch, and I've seen fights like this and worse, I would stop them. I would say, okay, so you're about to head into a conversation. What's your goal? Is your goal to eliminate the fight and to put it to rest? Is your goal to help repair the relationship? Is your goal to win the argument? What's the goal here? Now, usually people say, well, what I'm hoping is that we can be happy together and that we can move on. Okay, so how are we going to get there? Well, we're going to get there if you understand each other and listen to each other. And so what I'd recommend to Eric is to listen to Larissa about her feelings and to validate it. She's like, yeah, you know, I said those things and I could see that you're hurt. You don't have to even necessarily grovel and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. In the back of your mind, you could be thinking, well, I don't know, we were broken up and I thought I was never going to see her again. And yeah, I was angry. And yeah, I guess there was a stranger there, but I didn't know I didn't know you were going to call this random person in Colorado that happened to be present when I was telling my parents about my relationship with you. And yeah, I talked about some of our intimate things, but I didn't go into full detail. I don't know what that person was talking, So in the back of his mind, he could be thinking that. He'd be like, well, I don't think I did anything that wrong, but she heard about it, which must have just been really hurtful to her. So I'm going to hear that. I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to validate that. And I'm going to say, yeah, I'm so sorry that you heard that. And I'm sorry that I said it. And even if we were broken up, that's just, really mean things to say. What I'm guessing what he wants to say is, you talked endless crap about me to everyone, so much so that two of your best friends hate me. So you're accusing me of talking crap about you? I barely talked crap about you. I don't know if that's what he's going to say, but you talked crap about me for a long time. You even talked crap about me in front of these cameras. You said that I didn't want to have sex and that I was cheap and that I never complimented you. I've never said to the cameras any complaint about you. I don't know. So I'm guessing that's what he wants to say, but it's not going to help if your goal, and this is important, we always use the show, what can we use this show for to learn about how to get our needs met? And in the moment when you feel like you're being accused of something that you don't really feel like you're on board with, or you're like, well, wait a second, you do this, the first step, and sometimes it's the only step you need to do, is to go, okay, I'm going to put that aside for now. I'll get there later. You can always say that. You can always say, I'll make that point tomorrow. Or I've got a thing or two to say to her because, the thing she's accusing me of, I could accuse the same back to her. Okay, fine. Catalog that. Put it in a drawer, close it, you got it ready, you can bring that out at any time. Right now, she's really hurt. And just hear that and apologize and say, I hear you. I'm sorry that I said those things. Yeah, that's awful. I could see why you're hurt. Just listen. Then later, after that's put to rest, she says, okay, well, thanks for apologizing. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it still kind of hurts. And then you can say, okay, there's an end. Now there's a gap of time. Now I'm going to open the drawer and I'm going to be like, by the way, I have also a bone to pick with you because you talked, separate the things out. That's one of the things that couples often do is they when they're being accused of something, as a way of trying to combat the accusation, they bring up their own accusation. And now you're just mutually triggering each other and both not listening to each other and both discounting and both attacking, and then things escalate and then bad things happen. So let's watch what happens.
Yeah,
Talk about my body.
You agreed
to
that once we
strangers.
got back together, whatever happened in our past during the time of when we were broken up, it would not affect what we're doing now.
You tell me the
Close
truth.
that window.
Why did you say about both people about me? Why you hating me so much? Why you hating me when I broke it up?
That's interesting that she closed the window, because I'm just guessing she doesn't want the neighbors to hear. And I'm also speculating that she doesn't want the cops to be called, and then bad things can happen. So
Here, borrow this phone.
This is my phone. You don't have
Once
money.
we
Buy
break
your
up,
phone.
it's all yours, but once
Buy
we
your
get back
phone.
together, I want to take it back from you.
Yes, because you want to use it to bash me. The first time that I was with Eric, I gave that phone from him because he's very cheap. And I find out that he was using the phone that I gave it to him to trash me. It's not fair. You hate me. You hate me. Why you hate me so
Everybody
much?
hates you, don't they? I'm out, dude.
You know, you bash me. You talk about my intimacy to a stranger, about sex.
it's just so hard to watch, to see people with valid feelings, probably. I don't know what their underlying feelings are. I can only guess, but it seems pretty obvious to me. It's hard to watch people with valid feelings and then they just trigger each other and hurt each other and push each other away, when there definitely was a path forward here where they could have worked this out. Maybe they still will, but it's just hard to watch.
You said you'll never forgive me, right?
Why you need to bash me for those women? Need to say that I have a bad bitch. My face is $10,000. Bitch.
I may have talked about some sort of sexual relationship between Larissa and I, but we had an agreement that if anything were to come up after her and I got back together, we would discuss it like adults. And I don't feel that we've been able to.
All right, so it sounds like maybe he predicted that this might happen. I don't know. And from his perspective, he thinks that she wasn't approaching him like an adult. I think that when she first approached him, it's understandable that she was activated. She just heard it. She was hurt. She was dysregulated. So I don't know if this accusation from him is entirely accurate. I think that if I were there, I would say, whoa, Eric, I get it. You feel attacked right now, but she just found out. She just got an earful of some very horrible things that you said. And even if it did happen in a context that you feel like is justified, that's a hard thing to have rattling around in your head. And that's going to hurt, because of all the people on the planet that she wants to love her and think good thoughts about her, it's you. And she just heard that you had all these horrible thoughts. Now, you were broken up. So, have some patience around this. Validate the feelings, hear her out. She'll appreciate that. That's what she's looking for, I think. And then after that, you can have what you call an adult conversation about it. I don't know.
Discuss this like adults.
I just wish you could be a man and say, hey, Larissa, I'm sorry.
Why don't you sit down like you've been standing over me? You wander around in a freaking robe like you're Dolly Parton or something, dude.
I just would like that you be honest to me
I
and
would
tell
like
me.
you to tell me why you chased down these women that I saw when we were broken up.
Because I want to know if I can trust you.
I can't trust you.
Now, I will say, just independent of this conversation, that to go through someone's phone is a massive trust violation. If someone went through my phone against my will, that would be a massive trust violation. A more functional way to build trust is to have a relationship that lasts a long time. People, as I always say, people will email me and it's like, how do I trust someone? And I'll say, like, well, how long is your relationship? They'll be like 6 weeks. And I'll say, why would you trust someone how do you know someone after 6 weeks? I get that we want to trust. I get that we want a good relationship, of course. But a typical romantic, long-term, healthy relationship is literally 40, 50 years. And there's ups and downs through that time. So to think that somehow you're going to have full trust in the beginning is unreasonable. And I get it. It would be nice if we could somehow spy on everything that they've ever done and read their mind. Then we could be reassured that the person is trustworthy. That would be fantastic, right? But to skip the line, so to speak, and break into their phone and really expose yourself to things that you probably don't want to see. I mean, I'm guessing if every marriage and every long-term relationship were to do something like this, to break into their partner's phone and just look for anything that would be incriminating, that everyone would find something that would hurt their feelings. Because it's normal in a relationship to be upset sometimes, and then you text your friend and be like, oh, he did it again, or oh, she did it again. And you're reaching out for support. You got to get it out. You want to say something. And to come across that without any context in there would really be hurtful to see. But intellectually, I think all of us understand that, me and my spouse, when we get in fights, I'm sure he talks to his friends and probably talks crap about me. But there's a difference between having an intellectual idea of that and actually seeing it. Seeing it, it can be very, very traumatizing, really. I've actually had clients who had legitimate PTSD from looking and breaking in. I actually had a client years and years ago, and I've had other clients along these lines too, but one client who broke into her husband's phone and saw a bunch of things that were innocent, really, but were actually traumatizing to her. She actually created a mild case of PTSD that I had to treat for a number of weeks. And for her, she wished that she never looked at it. She's like, if I could go back in time, I would never have looked at what was in there. So it's just something you want to be really careful about. But anyway, was she justified in breaking into his phone? I guess, you make the call. But generally speaking, it's not advised. Hey, deserving listeners, as you know, I'm constantly recommending that people go to therapy. We all need therapy from time to time. One of the options available that is definitely worth checking out is BetterHelp.com. So if you're looking for a therapist, I would give it a try by going to BetterHelp.com/Kirk. Make sure you use the /Kirk because you get 10% off your first month and it helps us out. I get a lot of emails from you saying that you're looking for a therapist. As you watch these videos, I know many of you have been motivated to find your own therapist. But I know it can be really hard to find a good one to work with. Like I said, one of the options available to try is BetterHelp.com/Kirk. And you should know that this service is available to clients worldwide, which is amazing. I've been told that you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. You can message with your counselor anytime. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. And I've been told that it's often less expensive than in-person therapy. So go to BetterHelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month of therapy today.
What I want to happen between Larissa and I is that she apologizes to me for going and digging up the dead and letting her mind be deluded with all these conversations of little women that I had a fling with in the time of our separation. And I want her to...
As someone who uses a lot of hand gestures when I talk, I feel like Eric has definite hand gesture power. He's really on his hand gesture game right now. But anyway, he wishes that she wouldn't have done that. Okay, but she did, and she's hurt, and you can empathize with her, and you can care for her. And then later, open the drawer and say, by the way, now that we've put that to rest for now, can we talk about the fact that you broke into my phone?
To get focused on why she got back with me in the first place.
Why? I just would like to know, please, why you, if you know this woman just for hours, why you chose things about my intimacy to these women? Because you are a loser?
You told things about our intimacy
I never
to other people. Oh, we don't even have sex anymore. Etiquette. How do I feel desired as a woman?
Right. So they both are hurt, and they're both attacking each other, and they're both not listening to each other. It's a very, very common dynamic that people get into. It's paradox. It's a horrible curse on the human race, which is that as you're being accused of something, so Larissa is hurt and she's angry and she's activated and she's like, how could you do this to me? He feels attacked, which is understandable. If he could differentiate in that moment, be like, well, I feel attacked, but what's really happening, the primary thing I should be paying attention to right now, she's hurt. So I feel attacked, but let's not regard that. Let's address the fact that she's really hurt and she's very activated and I need to take care of her in this moment. That's differentiation, right? So, but the cruel aspect of humanity is she's hurt and she's activated and she's talking about it, she's expressing it. He feels attacked, and so he's hurt, he becomes activated, and then he accuses back. And it just becomes this vicious cycle where now you're hurting her more. Now she's getting more escalated because she's like, wow, you're still not listening to me? Maybe if I yell at you and say it in another way, you'll finally listen to me. If I emphasize how much of a jerk you are, you'll realize how much of a jerk you are. And then he does the same thing. And this is just the bane of human existence. I can't tell you how many relationships have ended because of this. It's just a universal dynamic that happens in relationships, friendships, work relationships, marriages, obviously, sibling relationships, relationships with your teacher. This moment right here is emblematic of even nations that go to war have problems like this of, uh-oh, you seem to be having more power. I'm scared. I'm going to accuse you of something. And then, uh-oh, they just accuse us of something as a nation and we have to accuse back. Or political parties, Republicans and Democrats. Uh-oh, you're trying to take away my rights. Okay, that scares me. Instead of expressing that fear and saying, hey, let's work together on this, I'm going to put my flag down and stick it in the ground and I'm going to accuse the other person. You're a bunch of da-da-da. And then the other person, it's just the bane of human existence. I can't tell you, as I think about all the pain and literal death because of wars and other kinds of violence things, a bar fight, it's the same principle. You disrespected me. You stepped on my foot on the dance floor. Well, you should, be a man about it and back off. And, your breath smells and punches are flying. Everything comes down to this human foible of lack of differentiation in the moment, lack of seeing the bigger picture here, and the inability of all of us to go, okay, wait a second, what's happening for me right now? I'm hurt and afraid. How about I communicate that? And it's just so hard for us humans to do that. It's just so hard for us to say, actually, right now I'm really scared. Actually, right now I'm really hurt. How about I communicate that? It's just so hard. And the more angry someone is, the less likely and the more important it would be to express those base feelings, the less likely we are going to do it, because as they escalate, we escalate. It's just, this is, my reaction is bigger than this couple. But if you learn one thing from me, it's this. Well, I talk about it all the time, right? But, getting to know your primary emotions of hurt and fear and validating that inside of yourself and finding enough people to validate you in that way so that you learn that you can validate yourself. And then sitting with those emotions, not transferring it into anger and hostility, but actually sitting with that and at least having self-compassion at first, like, wow, I'm pretty afraid right now, or wow, I'm pretty hurt. And you know what? I'm justified in feeling hurt. Or I don't know if I'm justified, but I feel hurt, and that's just what's happening right now. And okay, now I'm going to express it. What you just said to me, that last sentence and your attitude, kind of scared me. It's kind of hurtful. I don't know if it's your fault, but I'm just saying that's how it felt to me. So I just want you to know that, I hear that you're hurt, just talking more on that level. There's just so many things we can solve. And then you think about, while I'm on this topic of depression, this depressing line of thinking is, all the kids who had parents who had a lot of conflict and the parents didn't have enough capacity to take care of their children. All the pain that children go through as a result. Even parents that mistreat their children often as a result of this lack of awareness of your hurt and your fear. So it's just, it's really, there's so much that we talk about in our society, and we don't talk enough about this, I guess. I wish we talked more about it. I'm doing my part, and I know some of you are as well. One of the most wonderful emails I can get, or comments below, is when someone says, after watching one of your videos, I had a conflict with my spouse, and I had your thoughts going through my mind, and I slowed down, and I had self-compassion around my hurt, and I communicated that, and my spouse actually reacted really well. And in a situation where we normally would have a fight for 5 days, we didn't have a fight at all. It was beautiful. It worked. And I'm like, hallelujah. My work here is done. Now, as I always say, you shouldn't use these videos as a replacement for therapy. There's a lot of therapists that can help you individually with your issues, and that's usually what you need. But it is wonderful to hear. So let's concentrate on that. And I guess the fact that you're still watching it all means that you must be on board with that idea. I mean, I talk about it all the time. So that's good to think that there are so many people watching going, yeah, I agree. Let's think about our primary emotions. So, but let's try to spread the word, and let's set an example. And not only in our spousal romantic partnerships, but also at work, nations, between political parties, everything. Let's try to do it everywhere, and let's see what happens. I'm just going to take a guess and say that things could improve. I don't know.
I should not to scream with Eric or allow him to scream with me, because this can lead police to be involved, and I could be arrested again. And my criminal attorney, Adam, told me that if the cops call on me, I might be deported. So I have to leave this house so I don't get in trouble again.
All right, well, that does it for that episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. And everyone out there, truly, please take care of yourself. Take care of others. Let's all take care of each other, because we all deserve it.